UFC Fight Night Makachev versus Green full card prediction. Bobby Green in the main event at 160 pounds of the catchweight division on a crazy streak right here, beating Guida, Lando Venata, Alan Patrick. He probably beat Thiago Moises, then he had a very close fight with Fiziev, knocking out Ale Quinta, and then dominating Nasrat Haqparas. Now, he's fighting Islam Makhachev, who, if I'm remembering correctly, as of right now in the UFC lightweight division, is at number 4 or at number 5 on those rankings. Is that number 4 right there, maybe 1 or 2 fights away from a title fight. And we got Bobby Green coming in on short notice, taking the place of Benil Dariush. We also have Misha Cirkunov, Wellington Turman at middleweight, Ji-Young Kim at Perskilla, Cachoeira at flyweight, Joel Alvarez and Arman Tsarukyan, 2 rising contenders of the lightweight division, very young in their careers, only 28 and 25 years old. That's one you definitely gotta watch. Arnon Petrosyan and then Gregory Rodriguez. We got one of the youngest UFC fighters in Zhu Rong taking on Ignacio Bahamondes, Josiah Nunez, Ramona Pasqual, Petrosyan, Terrence McKinney, Jinyu Frey, Hannah Goldie, Jonathan Martinez, Alejandro Perez, Ramiz Brahimi, Michael Gilmore on short notice, and Victor Morano and Carlos Hernandez. So a lot of solid fights here. Before we get into all of our predictions, I'm going to go through the fights I'm very much looking forward to. The first fight, very much looking forward to, not going to be the main event. It's going to be Arman Tsarukyan and Joel Alvarez. Then we go on to the main event, Islam Makhachev, Bobby Green. Then maybe Terrence McKinney, Petrosyan, and then Gregory Rodriguez, Arman Petrosyan. Those are the fights I'm very much looking forward to on UFC Fight Night Makhachev versus Green. But if you're here this early on the predictions, make sure you guys hit the like button. We're going to try getting this video to 100 likes. And if we can, I will drink a gallon of milk in one sitting. Why not? There's no really a reason why I should do that, but 100 likes and I'll do that. So just hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. With all of that being said, let's get into the first fight here in the UFC flyweight division. Victor Morano and Carlos Hernandez in the flyweight division. Both guys only with 1 loss in their MMA career. Carlos Hernandez, a loss which was his first ever professional MMA fight in 2017. Since then, getting a lot of submission wins in the first and second round, then going inside of the LFA, getting a unanimous decision following a very close split decision win on Daniel Perez on the Contender Series. I do believe Carlos Hernandez is going to be a slightly better boxer and maybe have a little bit more power in his hands. Neither guy really has, that knockout power. You're not going to see either guy land a walk-off KO or anything like that, but in terms of who's really landing more effective and powerful shots, I would probably say Carlos Hernandez when it comes to the hands. When it comes to the kicks, the knees, more of the shots that come from the lower part of your body, Victor Morano definitely will have the advantage. He's got very solid kicks at range, body kicks, leg kicks, decent wrestling. Both guys are decent out there. Victor is definitely better on bottom with the triangles, arm bars, guillotines, things like that. Carlos is a little bit better with a little bit of ground and pound, looking for that rear naked choke submission. We'll see a little bit of grappling here and there, but I don't see either Carlos or Victor really having that big of an advantage in the ground to really be able to control the fight there for very long. So I expect this fight mainly to be a striking one with a little bit of grappling mixed in, a couple scenarios where there's a takedown, a submission attempt, and things like that every now and then. But overall, the winner of this fight is really going to be determined on who has the better striking, who's going to land more volume, who's going to land the better shots, and who's going to win the fight in the striking. And it's very close to decide on either guy, because Carlos Hernandez in the early rounds, I say, has a little bit of the advantage there. He's got very solid boxing. got a little bit more power than Victor Altamirano, but once the fight starts to hit those later rounds, the second and third round, where Carlos's pressure in the boxing really is not going to be as much there as it was in the early rounds, that's where Victor Altamirano's kickboxing and volume is really going to take over the fight. So I'm pretty confident that the third round will go Victor Altamirano, and the first round will go Carlos Hernandez, because Victor, in the early rounds, he's not really the best, but he comes back with very good cardio and volume later on, so it really comes down to who wins that second round. It's one of those fights. Again, the odds 50-50 Tapology predictions. I have no idea how. They're 81% going Altamirano. They should be close to 50-50, but it's a very, very close fight. I can see Hernandez landing the bigger shots and the judges kind of rewarding him on that and giving him the decision, but I can see the judges also giving it to Victor based on volume and the amount of kicks that he's able to land. So it's a very close one. Not going to be one that I'm going to say, yeah, for sure Victor's going to win. For sure Carlos is going to win, because it's probably going to be a split decision or a very, very close at 29-28 decision. Very, very tough one to choose, but I think the volume of Victor Altamirano is going to be the one thing that gets him to win here. Maybe slightly power goes Carlos, but the cardio and volume does go Victor. So I'm gonna go Victor Altamirano ultimately to win the fight by a 29-28 decision. But it's a very close one. It is flyweight, so one big punch could definitely sway the results in either guy's favor. So it's a close fight, but I'm gonna go Victor Altamirano on a very, very close decision. Solid fight in the flyweight division. After that one, we go on into the welterweight division. Ramiz Brahimi and Michael Gilmore in the welterweight division. Neither guy really doing too good in the UFC. Ramiz Brahimi lost in the LFA about 3 years ago. Came back with a triangle choke submission win. Then went on the UFC. I believe it was a short notice fight against Max Griffin. But his ear, dude, I mean, he ate some huge shots in that fight. Not really the shots that would like put you away in terms of like put you to sleep. But, I mean, his face was all bloody. His ear was, like, it was falling off at one point in that fight, and the fight ended up stopping. That's not going to happen here against Michael Gilmore, but I just wanted to point that out because I don't know how well that ear has kind of repaired since that fight a year and 3 months ago, because it was an absolutely vicious injury on the ear. Literally half of it was about to fall off, but after that, he got on a submission win over Sasha Palatnikov. Then he got dominated by Court McGee. But this fight here, it is going to be in the welterweight division. I originally thought maybe Gilmore would have the size advantage if they made it in the middleweight division, because that tends to be where Michael Gilmore likes to fight in most of his fights. But I don't think there's going to be too much of a size advantage here. I think the wrestling and the grappling obviously is going to go Ramiz Brahimi. It is short notice, so you never know with a guy like Gilmore. Who really has nothing to lose at this point. He lost against Gilbert Urbina on the Ultimate Fighter, and then he got TKO'd by Andre Petrosyan. Before that, got a couple decision wins, a few knockouts here and there, so he's got really nothing to lose here, and that is a dangerous opponent. Ramiz Brahimi, he needs to win this fight as well. He also needs to go out there, make this a dominating performance to get him back in the mix of things in the UFC welterweight division. But Michael has nothing to lose, and when you have nothing to lose, you go crazy. You start throwing huge shots, and you are looking for that finish. You never know. You never do know. Of course, my prediction is going to be Ramiz Brahimi by a late finish, second or third round submission or TKO due to ground and pound. But Michael Gilmore, I know he's not really the most polished guy, doesn't have technical striking, but it is MMA. One shot lands and the fight could be over. But yeah, Michael's only real way to win this fight is to use his strength and defend those takedowns and just start throwing bombs and knocking out Ramiz Brahimi. But of course, most likely that's not going to happen. This fight will hit the ground eventually. Ramiz, with the wrestling, with the grappling advantage, will control for the first round, will control for a majority of that second round as well, and eventually latch onto a submission or a ground and pound TKO in the second or third round. Solid fight in the welterweight division. After that, when we go on into the bantamweight division, Alejandro Perez and Jonathan Martinez in the bantamweight division. I would say maybe the wrestling goes Alejandro Perez, but neither guy is really like super good in offensive wrestling, but they both have solid defensive wrestling. So I'm really like looking at this fight, watching the film of both Jonathan Martinez and Alejandro Perez. Maybe you can see like a takedown or two being landed from either guy, but there's going to be really no control time. The times Alejandro has been taken down and the times Jonathan Martinez has been taken down, they really weren't held there for a long period of time. So I do expect this fight mainly to be a striking one, because neither guy has that considerably good wrestling offense, and neither guy really has that bad of wrestling defense. So this should be a striking fight. Jonathan Martinez is going to be the taller guy as well as the lengthier guy. In reach is going to be 2.5, and then in height is going to be about 2 inches. So he could play the game of just kind of staying at range, having Alejandro pressure him, and he's just going to be jabbing, popping him up, 1-2, and leg kicking and body kicking, and just staying at range and winning a point striking decision. That would be the game plan for Jonathan Martinez. If I was Jonathan Martinez's coach, that would be the exact game plan I would tell him to do, and he's done very, very well of doing that. I mean, every now and then, if his opponent gets a little bit too pressuring and comes forward like that, he does have the ability to get the knockout, not with his hands, but with the knees. We saw him land the flying knee in the third round on Frankie Saenz, as Frankie was just coming forward, trying to put on that pressure. We saw Ping Liu go out there in the third round, start to come on with that pressure, then he got caught with the knee. So I'm not going to say this is going to be like 100% the fight goes to a decision, because there is that possibility of Jonathan Martinez in those later rounds catching Alejandro Perez as he's coming in with another knee. When you got a guy like Alejandro, who I believe is going to be down on the judges' scorecards in the first and second round, that third round, Alejandro has nothing to lose. He's going to come forward and look for that finish. That could lead to a finish from Jonathan Martinez with the knee down the middle. So you never know. That one, I'm going to say, yes, of course it's going to be a decision, because there's definitely a possibility that we see a finish here. For Alejandro Perez, I think if he wins, it could be a knockout. It could honestly definitely be a knockout. He does have a few knockout wins on his record. Guido Ganetti, Scott Jorgensen, Ian S. Whistle right there, as well as Matthew Lopez. So he does have a few knockout wins here and there, but I think the fight goes all the way. There's definitely a possibility one guy gets a finish, but I think Jonathan is going to stay at range, hit that jab, use the height, use the reach, and mainly point strike to a 29-28 decision. Perez can maybe eke out one of those rounds with a takedown, and just heavy pressure and a volume. But overall, Martinez with a height and reach advantage, and is most likely going to have the volume advantage, as well as Alejandro is going to be eating a lot of shots coming in with that pressure. So Jonathan Martinez by unanimous decision. Solid fight in the bantamweight division. After that one, we go on into the women's strawweight division. Jinyu Frey and Hannah Goldie in the women's strawweight division. Very, very low-level women's strawweights right here. Hannah Goldie, she had one win on the Contender Series by unanimous decision. Then she beat Emily Whitmire, who does have a losing record. You see right there, 4 wins and 5 losses. Losing to Miranda Granger by unanimous decision, as well as Diana Belbita by a unanimous decision. So against low-level competition, yeah, she's going out there looking pretty impressive, looking really good with the strikes on the feet, landing some powerful shots, taking them down, getting the TKO, submission, whatever the case may be. But Jinyu Frey, she is pretty low-level fighter in my opinion in the women's strawweight division, but she's definitely going to have the height advantage. She's going to have, not the height advantage, she's going to have the reach advantage by 4 inches, of the height being very, very even. Hannah's only real way of winning the fight is to get a finish early. I don't think she's going to have the cardio advantage. She's not going to have the wrestling advantage. She's not going to have the grappling advantage, and she's not going to have the advantage later on as the fight goes. So I believe Hannah Goldie, if she wants to go out there and win this fight, she needs to go out there with a sense of urgency. Do not care about your cardio. Go out there early on in the fight and look for a finish, because I assure you, if maybe she wins the first round and she does not get to finish, those later rounds, Jinyu Frey is going to take Hannah Goldie down, and she's going to destroy her with the grappling and the ground and pound in the second and third round. She needs to finish in the first round. If she doesn't get it, which I don't think she's gonna, Jinyu Frey is going to out-wrestle, out-grapple her in the second and third round and win a decision. So yeah, that is my prediction here. Hannah Goldie has never been finished. Jinyu Frey, I believe she's been finished before, like against Kay Hansen, but do you really see Hannah Goldie finishing Jinyu Frey on the ground? I really don't think so. I do think the fight goes all the way. First round, and Hannah's going to go out there, land some really good shots in the feet. It's going to look like, oh my god, Hannah is so good better cardio is going to drain her, the big muscles. She's not going to really be able to hold that for the second and third round, and she's going to start to fatigue, and that's where Jinyu Frey is going to come back and win the second and third round. So I got Jinyu Frey winning this fight by a decision, 29-28 on the judges' scorecards. After that one, we go on to the lightweight division. Terrence McKinney and Petrosyan in the lightweight division. Petrosyan, I'm going to say it right now, better kickboxing. Terrence McKinney, better power as well as better boxing. So the hands go Terrence McKinney and the kicks go Petrosyan. Petrosyan will also be having a 1-inch reach advantage and a 3-inch height advantage. His only loss in the UFC was matched by unanimous decision about 2.5 years ago. Before that, getting submission losses to Vishan Magomedov and then a Haitan Wu right there. I don't think we're going to see Terrence McKinney go out there and try to look for a rear naked choke submission. I mean, his last 4 wins, every single one of them has been a first round TKO. The man's power is legit. I mean, you look right here. First round knockout in 16 seconds. I'm kidding you not. 16 seconds, 17 seconds, a minute and 12 seconds, and then oh my god. The man's power is so crazy though, but he does have a couple submissions there, not against good competition. 9 wins, 6 losses, and 16 wins and 31 losses. 2-6 and then 2-7 right there. So all of the guys he's going out there and being able to submit aren't really the best competition. I don't believe Petrosyan is going to get taken down by Terrence McKinney. This one should be a striking fight. You might look at Terrence McKinney's record, getting a lot of submissions there, Petrosyan getting a lot of submission losses, and maybe say, oh, McKinney's going to go out there and get a submission. No, come on. McKinney's competition that he got those submissions in, nowhere near as good as Petrosyan. Petrosyan's takedown defense, very, very solid. This one is going to be a striking fight. Petrosyan with the better kickboxing, with the takedown defense, should keep the fight on the feet. Stay away from that power that Terrence McKinney has in his hands, and he's going to point strike kickbox for 3 straight rounds and do enough to win at least 2 of them. Originally, a few months ago when the fight was first announced, I did have Terrence McKinney, but my mind was a little bit focused on the past couple of fights. I was a little bit bought into the hype of Terrence McKinney coming off so many knockout wins in a row, but Petrosyan has never been knocked out, showing a pretty solid chin in all of his fights. He's got the better kickboxing, the better speed, speed in terms of kicks. Maybe the hand speed goes Terrence McKinney, but overall, the volume, the kicking game, the takedown defense should overall lead to a decision win from Petrosyan. So yeah, that's my prediction. Petrosyan by a unanimous decision. After that one, we go on here to the UFC featherweight division. Josiane Nunez and Ramona Pasqual in the featherweight division. The betting odds so far are at -325 for Josiane Nunez. She's going to be younger, a heck of a lot less in terms of height right there. It is absolutely insane. 5 foot 2 inches tall, one of the smallest fighters in women's MMA. Even if you go down to like strawweight, there's still girls that are taller than Josiane Nunez. She's just very small, very compact, but very powerful. I don't care about the height. I don't care about the reach. She has some legit power. And even with that power right there, she still has the reach. I did say I don't really care about the reach, but oh my god, for being 5 foot 2 inches tall, she's got a 67-inch reach. That is very, very solid. And that really allows for her not to have to overextend on her punches, but she can land her power shots at range as well. So I do believe this fight with Ramona Pasqual. Ramona, she's in for a rude awakening here. She's coming in on short notice after, I believe, 2 opponents of Josiane Nunez did withdraw. Yanin Wu ended up withdrawing from the fight, as well as Gonzalez Araneda right there. 13 wins and 5 losses. She just withdrew as well. I'm really not too sure why. And now we got Ramona Pasqual. I believe Ramona Pasqual, maybe she can get in the UFC someday and have a decent career here, but overall, this is not a good debut by any means. She's got power in her hands. She's got decent submission game as well. First round knockout win, first round submission win, knockout win, knockout win, knockout win. I don't care. I really do not care. This fight is going to stand the fee, and Josian Nunez has probably as much power as Amanda Nunez. You might think I'm joking, but Josian Nunez' power is absolutely insane. 5 knockout wins in a row. These ones could also be knockout wins. We're really not too sure. So the power of Josian Nunez, it should get her the win. Come on, guys. Josian Nunez should win the fight by knockout right here in the first or second round. A really good fight in the featherweight division. After that, when we go on to the lightweight division, Ignacio Bahamondes and Zhu Rong in the lightweight division. Ignacio, better kickboxing, better speed, better volume, better cardio. Zhu Rong, better wrestling. That's really the only thing going for Zhu Rong. The height, the reach, the speed, even the power, if I'm being quite honest with you. The volume, literally everything in terms of striking at range, kickboxing, boxing, all that type of stuff. It all goes Ignacio Bahamondes. He's gonna, oh my god, he's way taller. He's gonna be 6 inches taller than Zhu Rong here and have a 4.5 inch reach advantage. So the striking advantage that Ignacio Bahamondes is gonna be having in this fight is gonna be very significant. Zhu Rong, yeah, he showed some decent wrestling in his last fight, taking down Brandon Jenkins and kind of controlling him there for 3 rounds till he got that TKO in the 3rd round. He's got a lot of other finishes on his record, but he does not throw volume. I mean, Zhu Rong does not throw any volume whatsoever in his fight with Rodrigo Vargas and a couple of his fights on the regional scene. He feels very hesitant to throw. He just is not throwing anything. And if you're not throwing volume on a guy like Ignacio Bahamondes, if you're not pressuring Ignacio, constantly going for takedowns, constantly throwing, Ignacio's going to piece you up at range. The only way to beat a guy like Ignacio Bahamondes is to keep on coming forward, throw a heck of a lot of volume, have a really good pressure, and mix in the takedowns. Zhu Rong only has one key to that puzzle, which is he can maybe mix in 1 or 2 takedowns. Other than that, the striking is going to be an absolute masterclass, in my opinion, for Ignacio Bahamondes. Ignacio is going to absolutely dominate Zhu Rong on the feet. So this is an easy prediction. I think Ignacio Bahamondes should fairly easily win this one in the striking, 30-27, possibly 30-26, and maybe even a knockout. We saw him knock out Roosevelt Roberts with a crazy knockout. He knocked out Edson Gomez, and he's got so many other knockout wins. So you never know with Ignacio Bahamondes. We could see another highlight for the reels, but I'm going to go 30-27, unanimous decision. A crazy fight there in the UFC lightweight division. After that, when we go on into the middleweight division, Gregory Rodriguez and Armen Petrosyan in the middleweight division. I even practiced saying that last name before this video. I still can never get it, but 6 wins, 1 loss for the Armenian Armen Petrosyan, 31 years old, gonna be a little bit less in terms of height and be 5 inches less in terms of reach. Armen is a very solid striker. He has more power than Gregory Rodriguez. I believe he's got a little bit more speed than Gregory Rodriguez. The kicking game is very even, but the one thing that there's a humongous advantage is going to be with the wrestling and grappling. Gregory Rodriguez, all he needs is 1 takedown, get the fight to the mat 1 time, and he's going to submit or TKO Armen Petrosyan. Petrosyan, I keep getting that last name wrong, but overall, they're both in the prime of their MMA careers. Gregory, his striking has looked very solid. He did get knocked out by Jordan Williams, but then he knocked out Al Mataveo, he knocked out Josh Frames, he dominated Dusko Todorovic, and then he knocked out Junyon Park. So his striking is getting better and better every single fight that we see him. I still think the advantage goes to Armen Petrosyan in terms of the striking, but eventually the fight will hit the mat. There will be one time where Armen maybe overextends on a punch, Gregory lands a double leg. His grappling is very solid. If you look at his topology right here, it's not just MMA fights right there. He's grappling Joe Selecki on UFC Fight Night. He grappled Cody Steele right there. He's got a lot of grappling bouts recently, and he's looked very good on them. So I think this fight does not go all the way. It's either Armen goes out there and knocks out Gregory Rodriguez, or Gregory plays with the striking a little bit, eventually times the takedown, gets the fight down, and either TKOs or submits Armen Petrosyan. And I'm going to go Gregory Rodriguez. There's a good chance Armen Petrosyan gets the win here. He's got very good power, and you never know with these type of guys, but I think Gregory's grappling and wrestling edge should give him the advantage in this fight. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go TKO here for Gregory Rodriguez. Could be a submission. I'm very torn on submission or TKO because he's gotten a lot of TKOs recently, but he also has very, very good jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to go Gregory by finish in the second round. A really good fight in the middleweight division. After that one, we go on here to the UFC lightweight division. Arman Tsarukyan and Joel Alvarez in the lightweight division. If you guys remember, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I did an early prediction for Joel Alvarez and Arman Tsarukyan. I had Joel Alvarez winning that fight by a knockout. Now, that was an early prediction. You have time before your early prediction and before your official prediction, which is right now, to switch up a little bit. Maybe kind of clear your mind a little bit and have a more of an understanding on Joel Alvarez and Arman Tsarukyan. And I keep on watching the film of Joel Alvarez and Arman Tsarukyan. And the more I watch Arman's film and the more I watch Joel Alvarez's film, the more I'm 100% leaning to Arman Tsarukyan. There's a good chance Alvarez could go out there and get the knockout. He is a lot bigger. He's going to be, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches taller than Arman Tsarukyan with almost a 5-inch reach advantage. That is definitely a good thing to have against Arman Tsarukyan. That was the reason in my original prediction that I had Alvarez going out there and getting the knockout. Was because of the height, because of the reach, because of the size, because of the power. I originally had Joel Alvarez winning. But if you look at a lot of his fights inside the UFC, he kind of accepts the back. I mean, he's got a lot of finishes on the ground, getting an armbar on Alexander Yakovlev. He got that guillotine on Joe Duffy. He got triangle on Maxime Radu, and so many other submission wins on his record. So you never know with those submissions there, but fighting Arman Tsarukyan, there's no way Arman Tsarukyan is going to get caught in one of those submissions. It's going to be Arman going out there, pressuring Joe Alvarez, looking for the takedown, and looking to control the fight on the ground. Alvarez honestly might accept that position on bottom. Throughout all the film that I have watched on Joel Alvarez, he seems very content to just stay on the bottom position, look for the armbar, look for the triangle, look for the guillotine. And if you do that with Arman Tsarukyan and you're unable to actually latch onto a submission, Arman is going to control, and he's going to ground a pound, and he's going to win the decision. So yeah, originally I did have Joel Alvarez winning the fight, but the more I see Alvarez kind of just, alright, I'll just stay on my back and look for submissions, the more I think Arman Tsarukyan is gonna win this fight, because he has better wrestling. Maybe the submissions go Alvarez, but Arman's gonna control the fight on the ground for 3 rounds. I don't think he's gonna finish Alvarez, but it'll be a good fight. I got Arman Tsarukyan winning the fight by a unanimous decision, but it's a much, much closer fight than the betting odds do suggest, because Arman was, I believe, minus 300, minus 400 at one point. That is ridiculous. I think it should be a lot closer, but I will be going Arman Tsarukyan by a unanimous decision. Really good fight in the lightweight division. After that one, we go on here to the flyweight division. Priscilla Cachoeira and Ji Yeon Kim in the flyweight division. Priscilla Cachoeira, you never know with this girl. The zombie girl, she's got a lot of knockout wins on her record. Going out there, knocking out Shayna Dobson with an uppercut. Then knocking out Gina Mazzani in, I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd round. But she also has a lot of losses. Losing mainly by decision, and those ones losing a decision to Molly McCain, to Luana Carolina, as well as getting submitted in her last fight to Jillian Robertson. But she does have the power advantage. Ji Yeon Kim is going to be, as always, going to be the taller, lengthier girl. Not going to be taller this time around, but she will be significantly lengthier with a 7-inch reach advantage. But overall, Priscilla, she needs a knockout here. I mean, Ji Yeon Kim is going to have the volume advantage. She has that reach advantage. She's mainly kind of a Sean Strickland of the women's flyweight division, keeping her guard up high. Jab, 1-2, jab, 1-2, jab, 1-2, over and over and over again till she gets a decision. That's kind of what she does in a lot of her fights. The only reason she loses her fights, like she did with Alexa Grasso, with Molly McCain, or when both Alexa Grasso and Molly McCain went out there with heavy pressure and volume. Priscilla, she's got power, but she doesn't really have that pressure and volume like a Molly McCann, like an Alexa Grasso. She does not have that level of pressure and volume. And for those reasons, I'm going to go Jeon Kim, because the only way you're going to beat a tall, lengthy fighter like Jeon Kim, who's mainly like a Sean Strickland, just 1-2 and 1-2 and 1-2, and the only way you're going to beat her is to take her down and dominate her there, or to absolutely pressure and volume her for 3 straight rounds. And Priscilla, she might be able to land a knockout here. She's got a lot of power, but overall, Jeon Kim, with the reach advantage, with the volume advantage, should be able to just out-point strike Priscilla Cachoeira and out-volume for 3 straight rounds and win the fight by a decision right there. So Jeon Kim, unanimous decision in the women's flyweight division. After that, when we go on into the co-main events in the middleweight division, Misha Cirkunov and Wellington Turman in the middleweight division. Wellington Turman is the underdog here. He's going to be a lot younger at 25 years old, but he's going to be a lot smaller and have a lot less of a reach than Misha Cirkunov. Misha Cirkunov is going to have a 5-inch reach advantage with a 3-inch height advantage. Going to be a lot older, not as fast as Wellington Turman or anything like that, but he will have both the grappling and the wrestling advantage. The only fights he's really losing in the UFC are the guys that are either ranked in the light heavyweight or middleweight division or are right outside that top 15. Krzysztof Jutko, he lost that fight by a split decision. Very, very slightly lost that one in a back and forth, very, very close fight there. Ryan Spann, a ranked opponent in the UFC light heavyweight division. Johnny Walker, ranked at light heavyweight. Glover Teixeira, the champion. Volkan Oezdemir, ranked in the light heavyweight division, and then a couple other guys early in his MMA career. But you can see the only guys that Misha Cirkunov is really losing to are ranked opponents, or just about ranked opponents. He beat guys like Nikita Krylov, who is ranked, Ion Cutelaba, who is, I believe he might be ranked, or he's right outside the top 15, also beating Jimmy Cruz. So he's got very, 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 very legit submission game, submitting Jimmy Cruz, submitting Patrick Cummings, submitting Nikita Krylov, submitting Ion Cutelaba, submitting Alex Nicholson, TKOing Daniel Jolly. I mean, the grappling and wrestling of this man is absolutely amazing. There's so many guys in here, like Nikita Krylov, like Jimmy Cruz, that are so much better wrestlers and grapplers than Wellington Turman. So if Misha Cirkunov's able to go out there and take down those guys and submit those guys by guillotine and Peruvian necktie in the first round, if he's able to do that to Jimmy Cruz and Nikita Krylov, come on, guys, he should definitely be able to do that on Wellington Turman. Yeah, Wellington might have the advantage on the feet, have the speed advantage, have the volume advantage, and maybe if the fight stays on the feet, be able to win the fight. But this fight eventually will hit the mat, and Misha will submit Wellington Turman in the first or second round. Decent fight there in the middleweight division. After that fight, we go on here to the UFC lightweight division. Islam Makhachev and Bobby Green in the 160-pound catchweight division. Now, the reason it's a catchweight fight is not a lightweight fight, it's not a welterweight fight, is because it is on short notice. Originally, we had Islam versus Beneil Dariush. I would have gone Islam Makhachev to win the fight by a submission in the 3rd or 4th round. That was my prediction for Beneil Dariush and Islam Makhachev, but now he's fighting Bobby Green on short notice. Obviously, Islam is going to be the fresher fighter. He's going to have a full camp, mainly like regarding the wrestling and grappling. Bobby Green took that Nasrat Haqparast fight on short notice. Now he's taking this fight as well on short notice. So I think there's a good chance that Bobby Green goes out there and he's taking a fight with Islam Makhachev on short notice. He's took the fight with Nasrat Haqparast on short notice. He's taken so many fights on short notice. It is absolutely insane. Bobby King Green, that is exactly. He is definitely a king, taking all of these fights on short notice. What else can you do but respect Bobby Green? That is absolutely amazing. The height is absolutely even. The reach is very, very even. The age does go Islam Makhachev, but come on, guys. You came here for a prediction for Islam Makhachev and Bobby Green. you guys know exactly what I'm going to say. Islam's a better wrestler. He's a better grappler. His striking, honestly, is also very, very solid. Very good defensive striking and counter-punching. Yeah, Bobby Green might have a little bit more volume on the feet and things like that, but if you're fighting like a Russian, like Islam Makhachev, like Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of those guys, the only way you're really going to beat them is if you knock them out. That's literally the only way, in my opinion, you're going to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. If you're going to beat Islam Makhachev, you need to go out there and knock them out. That's the only way Islam has lost, has been by knockout. Bobby Green is not that guy. 29 wins, 12 losses, and 1 draw. He got a knockout win on Ale Quinta, but that was Ale Quinta. And before that, 4 decision wins, 5 decision wins. 6 decision wins, 7 decision wins. The last time he's gotten a knockout win was 2013 against James Krause right there. That knockout win, as well as Ale Quinta, was very, very old, and that was kind of his retirement fight. Those are the only times Bobby Green has went out there and got the knockout. He's mainly looking to land volume and get a unanimous decision. That's what he did in the Nasser Hakparas fight. That's what he did against Guida, Landon Venata, and Alan Patrick. So, of course, I do not expect to finish here. This one, I don't expect a finish from Bobby Green. I do expect a finish from Islam Makhachev. He's got the better wrestling. He's got the better grappling. And I don't think he's going to be a first-round finish. Bobby Green is a tough blanker. I'm not going to say that on YouTube, but Islam should be able to go out there and submit Bobby Green in the second or third round. Bobby will survive the first round because he wants to make it look like he's a little bit better than Dan Hooker by surviving a little bit longer than Dan Hooker did. So I think he survives the first, but Islam, that grappling, that wrestling, that jiu-jitsu, is unlike anyone else, maybe Charles Oliveira, but that's for another discussion. But yeah, Islam Makhachev should win the fight by submission in the second or third round. Solid fight in the main event of the slight weight welterweight division, whatever the case may be. Yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Makachev versus Green. I got Islam Makhachev winning by a submission, Misha Cirkunov winning by a submission, Ji Young Kim by a decision, Armen Tsarukyan by a decision, Gregory Rodriguez by submission or by ground and pound TKO, Ignacio Bahamondes by unanimous decision, Josiah Nunez by knockout, Ferziyama by a decision, Junyu Frey by a decision, Jonathan Martinez by a decision, Ramiz Brahimi by TKO or by a submission, and then Victor Morano by a decision. Those are the full card predictions for UFC Fight Night Makachev versus Green. If you guys liked the video, of course, make sure you guys hit the like button. We're trying to get this video to at least 100 likes. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, if we get the video to 100 likes, I will drink a full gallon of milk in one sitting on a live stream. So if you want to see that, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.